Welcome to Arcane Crime, an urban fantasy world-building series that explores the relationship between magic and criminology. I'm your host, Peter Christensen. In this entry, we'll go over the basics of necromancy and delve into the secret history of the war between the Bound Kingdoms and the three most powerful cartels in history, the Otalora Confederation of Mexico, Los Siete Sabios of Colombia, and Las Equis, the most violent criminal enterprise in history and public enemy number one of the American Empire. Now, before you hit that like or subscribe button, please allow me a chance to earn that from you. Let's get started. According to the Magica Journal, the publication respected most by intellectual magicians, necromancy is defined as a subcategory of black magic, in which parts of the human body are used as an ingredient or containment vessel for violent magics, including spells, potions, and enchanted items. The most prevalent form of necromancy in America today is the cartel's flagship product, necrotics, which I discussed in the Black Magic and the Mob episode. If you'd like to learn more, you can watch that episode here. However, the most prominent cartels have created a number of necromantic weapons and tools to infiltrate and fight against the Bound Kingdoms. The Otalora Confederation's rise to power began in the shadow of Emperor Knight's 1970s war on necromancy, founded by Eduardo El Brujo Otalora, a curandero whose experiments with necromancy would forever change the landscape of organized crime in Mexico. El Brujo's first innovation came from his work with protected magic. After losing several members of his original crew to rival gangs, he developed a system of early warning devices, enchanted shoelaces that would constrict when danger approached. These simple but effective tools quickly became standard issue among his followers, saving countless lives and building fierce loyalty among his people. By 1975, El Brujo had perfected his signature creation, a new, potent necrotic that granted users supernatural combat abilities. The potion transformed ordinary sicarios into nearly unstoppable killing machines. This innovation allowed his small organization to punch well above its weight, rapidly expanding their territory against larger, established cartels. Territory control presented the next challenge. El Brujo developed a system of boundary markers using corpse parts from fallen enemies, creating invisible barriers that would trigger primal fear in rival cartel members who crossed them. These markers, combined with his enhanced soldiers, made Otalora territory nearly impenetrable to conventional attacks. The organization's greatest breakthrough came in 1978. El Brujo employed a team of illusionists who developed a method to temporarily phase vehicles through solid matter. This revolutionary smuggling technique made traditional border security practically useless against Otalora operations. The cartel's wealth exploded as they could now move product without fear of interdiction. This method went undetected for nigh on a decade. However, rapid expansion brought its own problems. To prevent betrayal and maintain control over his growing organization, El Brujo instituted a system of blood pacts in 1980. These mystical contracts, developed by a magician who would later become a key figure for the Siete Sabios cartel, bound members' souls directly to the cartel leadership, ensuring loyalty through supernatural means rather than mere violence. This innovation allowed the Otalora Confederation to maintain its loose, decentralized structure while ensuring member cartels couldn't turn against each other. Perhaps El Brujo's most subtle but significant innovation came in the realm of production. By 1982, he had perfected a method of necromantic agriculture using corpses to fertilize fields of drug crops. The corpse-enriched soil produced plants of unprecedented potency, making them ideal base materials for magical enhancement. The Confederation's structure proved remarkably resilient. Unlike traditional cartels that concentrated power in a rigid hierarchy, El Brujo created a network of semi-autonomous organizations bound together by shared magical knowledge. Each member cartel specialized in different aspects of necromantic enhancement while sharing innovations through their hidden communication network. By the mid-1980s, the Confederation had become one of the most sophisticated criminal enterprises in history, with operations spanning most of Western Mexico, South America, and even Australia. El Brujo himself gradually withdrew from public view, becoming an almost mythical figure. Some say he still directs operations through magical means, while others believe he achieved some form of immortality through his necromantic research. Others, more blasphemous in their ideas, believe he was murdered by one of his lieutenants. Los Siete Sabios emerged in 1985 when 7 distinguished professors from Colombia's most prestigious universities decided to use their expertise for the far more lucrative field of potion trafficking. These scholars, each experts in different fields ranging from archaeology to alchemy, came together to form the most innovative criminal enterprise in history. The 7 founders styled themselves after the legendary 7 sages of antiquity. Each took responsibility for developing different aspects of their criminal enterprise, applying rigorous academic methodology to their supernatural experiments. Unlike other cartels that grew from street-level violence, Los Siete Sabios built their empire on a foundation of academic research and innovative applications of necromancy. Their first breakthrough came when Dr. Isabella Montoya, the group's archaeologist, discovered that recently preserved bodies in shaft tombs could be reanimated through a combination of electrical stimulation and alchemical compounds. These silent, tireless guardians provided the cartel with an unprecedented advantage, an army that required no payment, felt no fear, and could not betray secrets under interrogation. By 1987, Dr. Rafael Cordoba, their thaumaturgist — thaumaturgy is a field of medical magic — had perfected a technique for extracting memories from the preserved brains using an alkahest-based solution. This innovation revolutionized their intelligence-gathering capabilities, allowing them to acquire secrets from dead rivals and government informants alike. The process, while crude at first, eventually became so refined that they could access memories dating back decades. The cartel's most lucrative innovation came from Dr. Elena Vargas, who established the first organized death market in 1988. This underground trading network dealt exclusively in magically significant human remains, from crystallized nerve clusters to preserved organs with unique properties. The death market quickly became the primary supplier for necromancers across the Americas, with Vargas developing a comprehensive catalog system for body parts based on their magical potency and application. Dr. Victor Santos, their cursologist, developed a system of targeted hexes using personal items in 1989. These curses proved particularly effective against law enforcement, as even a single strand of hair could be used to incapacitate or kill targets from safe distances, although they do need to be physically visible to the caster. Santos' work became the cartel's primary method of assassination, allowing them to eliminate threats with relative ease. Perhaps their most significant achievement came in 1990, when Dr. Javier Mendoza, the group's alchemist, perfected their immortality ritual. Unlike crude life extension spells used by other cartels, their ceremony required carefully calculated sacrificial energy drawn from multiple victims, combined with cutting-edge cellular regeneration techniques. While the process is complex and resource-intensive, it effectively halted their aging process, with estimates suggesting they could potentially live for 500 years. Their necromantic arsenal came from Dr. Miguel Fuentes, their poxicologist, and only Argentine. He engineered compounds that could temporarily transfer consciousness between bodies. This potion, unlike necrotics and poticeutical products, does not need to be physically consumed or applied topically. Rather, it needs to be observed visually. This potion is a thick, tar-like substance and is referred to as a mirror of ink. This revolutionary development allowed cartel leaders to possess subordinates for covert operations, effectively creating perfect infiltrators who could bypass conventional security measures. Fuentes' work made Los Siete Sabios virtually impenetrable to conventional law enforcement tactics. Dr. Lucia Restrepo, the cartel's illusionist, brought a new dimension to their operations in 1991, with her work on astral projections. By harnessing freshly drawn blood from fresh corpses, she could create spectral imprints of herself that could gather intelligence and terrorize enemies without physical presence. Her phantom duplicates proved invaluable for surveillance and psychological warfare, creating an atmosphere of supernatural dread around Los Siete Sabios operations. The last cartel, Los Equis, stands unique against its rivals for a few reasons. First, Los Equis is the youngest cartel in Mexico. They were formed in 2010, a mere 14 years before the events of my novel. Because of this, much of what the American government understands about them has only recently come to the public's attention. Second, this cartel was created by a special operations unit from the Mexican military. Because of their background, they are the most violent cartel in the world, responsible for 60,000 murders every year in Mexico alone. They are infamous for their domination in human trafficking, their grisly habit of headhunting, and their advanced torture techniques. The third and perhaps strangest reason is that only women are allowed to join. This last reason has caused a lot of speculation, but the most credible theory for why only women make up this cartel is that they have discovered or invented a fifth magical fuel. If you wish to learn more about the 4 primary fuels of magic, you can check out my industrial magic system video here. Little is known about this fuel. American law enforcement simply refer to it as black powder, but it seems to have a unique reaction to sugar and certain paint pigment. Los Equis operators have only ever been seen wearing skull or sugar masks. American law enforcement claims that these masks are made from magically enlarged human skulls. The cartel then mixes the sugar paste used to make sugar skulls for El Dia de los Muertos with black powder and paint, and covers the enlarged skull with the mixture. How these masks work is not yet well understood, but the existing knowledge gives us some rudimentary suggestions. The first thing we can say for certain is that sugar masks have a powerful effect on women. Depending on the color, these masks enhance their speed, strength, and sensory acuity in incredible ways. The masks also seem to have the opposite effect on men, making them weak and slow. The masks can have more specific effects, which is determined by the color of the paint used to make them or by the symbols painted onto them. The American government have only released information on two symbol-marked masks, the cobweb masks and the flower masks. The flower masks make the wearer invulnerable to bullets and poisonous gases, and cobweb masks weaken anyone who looks into its eyes to the point that they lack the strength to stand or lift anything heavier than a pencil. A wide variety of color masks have been seen, but American law enforcement has only determined the abilities of three variations. The first, red masks, gives the wearer vampiric attributes. They get great energy from drinking human blood. Purple masks, on the other hand, induce pain, which the cartel uses for torture. Pink and white masks are exclusively worn by the cartel's captives because they make the wearer highly susceptible to suggestion and mind control. There is one more painted mask, though the American government has yet to find a credible source to authenticate its existence. For this reason, many in law enforcement believe it is only an urban myth. It is only known as the Black Mask. According to the unsubstantiated sources, there is only one in existence, and it is worn by the cartel's leader, a mysterious operator called Maria. We do not know the exact powers this mask might possess, but it is rumored that it allows Maria to communicate with the dead. Some believe that Maria acts on behalf of the Lord of the Dead. Who this mythological figure is meant to represent, or why the rumor would exist in the first place, remains a mystery. However, it cannot be denied that these rumors have led to a resurgence in the belief that a life after death is possible. The Bureau of Necromantic Enforcement and Suppression, also known as BONES, emerged from Emperor Knight's 1970 declaration of the war on necromancy, though few at the time understood the true scope of what they would be fighting. Initial reports of necromantic crime had been dismissed as urban legends or exaggerated ghost stories until a series of horrific incidents in 1969 forced the government to acknowledge the supernatural threat growing within their own borders. BONES began as a small task force, but quickly evolved into something far more specialized as the true nature of cartel necromancy became apparent. The agency's first director, Royce Hawthorne, established the foundation of modern magical law enforcement by combining traditional police work with innovative supernatural countermeasures. Early BONES operations were often catastrophic failures, with agents unprepared for the reality of facing unrestrained necromancy. The turning point came in 1973 when Dr. James Chen, a former hex writer, created the first effective curse-breaking technology. His work revolutionized the agency's approach, leading to the creation of their signature equipment, anti-magic tactical gear. His work eventually expanded into an entire field known as apotropaic magic. Today, this family of glyphs and hexes can render any magic in any form, from potions to spells to anything in between, completely inert. The agency's structure evolved through necessity and hard-won experience. Field teams learned to combine conventional tactical expertise with supernatural defense. Each BONES strike team now includes at least one cursebreaker, a remote weapons operator, and a forensic necromancer, supported by heavily armed conventional agents equipped with blessed ammunition and protective wards. BONES has developed specific countermeasures for each cartel's innovations. Against the Otalora Confederation's death-touched vehicles, they deployed necro-radiation checkpoints. To combat Los Siete Sabios' memory extraction techniques, they developed encryption spells that make their agents untouchable from necromantic attacks. Their most sophisticated technology targets the cartel's supply chains, disrupting the flow of magical components through a combination of conventional interdiction and supernatural intervention. Modern BONES operations emphasize prevention over reaction. The agency maintains a network of protected sites, blood banks, burial grounds, and archaeological locations to deny cartels access to crucial magical components. Their intelligence division has become particularly adept at identifying and disrupting potential necromantic operations before they can be established. Despite these successes, BONES face constant challenges from cartel innovation. Each new magical breakthrough requires a corresponding countermeasure, leading to an endless cycle of supernatural advancement on both sides. The agency's research division works tirelessly to stay ahead of cartel developments, but often finds itself reacting to new threats rather than preventing them. Today, BONES represents humanity's primary defense against necromantic crime. Their agents operate in the shadows, fighting a war most citizens never see, using weapons and techniques they could never guess at. While they've prevented countless magical catastrophes, the agency's leadership knows they're fighting an endless war, one where victory means maintaining an uneasy balance between the world of the living and the forces of necromancy that threaten to overwhelm it. If you found some value or entertainment from this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I hope to see you on the next episode of Arcane Crime.